When the Treasury nominee, by then John Mbadi, appeared before the National Assembly, he attributed communication lapses and the mess at Treasury and overall government structures as the main cause that actually bedeviled the finance bill. And he bemoaned the communication as one of the factors that is sinking the Kenya Kwanza ship.
Through you to address the questions raised by Honorable Massey. Honorable Massey, I can't overemphasize the value of communication, and I would repeat again that one of the weaknesses of the Finance Bill 2024 is that it was not explained properly. And remember, there was this tax on motor vehicle. No one could explain why it was necessary. The people, some of the people or speakers the government sent or Treasury sent to explain it even made a mess of the explanation by saying that this is to increase or enlarge the tax base. Yet almost every one of us who owns vehicles, we pay taxes in one way or the other. So communication is key. Public participation, I think National Assembly, Senate, we need to come up with a clear legislation on public participation. Given the recent events at the courts, we must. This is a priority, and I am looking straight at the majority leader and the minority leader. Then the Speaker, Mr. Speaker, kindly help the government get a legislation in place if the government has not prepared one already.
AG is working on one.
The AG is working on one, I hear. That is very good. So, yes, I don't want to say that there was propaganda or otherwise. You know, if the animal had become bad, Mr. Speaker, in the eyes of Kenyans, the Public Finance Management Bill 2024. So reasoning was thrown off the window, and everybody believed it should be defeated. So I think that is what, but it's because of the communication. On the issue of, so you see, at the beginning, for us to communicate effectively on any matter that comes from government, first there should be believability. I think trust level has gone down. We must build it. We must rebuild trust level. The government must rebuild that trust level.
John Mbadi then was promising the country that for the first time, the Treasury will be communicating every step they take so that they can carry along the country when they're churning out policies and programs they are running. And so today, we were expecting that by 9 p.m., he was going to make his first exclusive interview in mainstream media as the Treasury CS. John Mbadi was supposed to be hosted by NTV in a live interview where he was supposed to explain policies. Despite of this plan being laid down for nearly a week, the Nation team had been expecting the Treasury CS to appear. A last-minute decision has shocked editors, and the journalists are asking why the Mbadi-nomics is not going to be aired. That interview has been postponed, as you can see in this poster. On 21st, that is on 9 p.m., Mbadi was supposed to take to the podium, to take to the microphone, to explain to the country Mbadi-nomics what has changed and what is really the hope of tweaking the country's economy after 2 years of the system collapse. It is now a consistent pattern that interviews are being cancelled. I remember at the height of the Gen Z protest, Isaac Mwaura was also supposed to appear in NTV, in Citizen, by Explainer, was supposed to be hosted by Yvonne Okwara, and that interview was also cancelled last minute, with the multiple reports showing that it is Statehouse that had been calling for those interviews to be postponed or rather to be cancelled. Now, since that broad-based government, there is no member of executive or even parliamentary leadership has appeared in a mainstream media to explain what is so broad about broad-based, and even trying to explain how the new cabinet nominees are supposed to change the country's fortune going forward. Mbadi was going to be on record as the first cabinet secretary to appear and explain to Kenyans what himself and Ruto are planning. But remember, this interview had a lot of attention from us, being that at some point when Mbadi was in the opposition trenches, he referred to cabinet nominees by President as skunk.
So what was informing the appointment of these members to the cabinet? If you can have Aisha Juma tasked with the responsibility of reforming our civil service, which has challenges, I fear that is not something that is going to work. This is a cabinet that was informed by political expediency. The president has actually appointed 2027 campaign managers, regional campaign managers. The president is simply telling us that we give him a cabinet that is not going to function because he's ready to run the entire government system, machinery and structure from Statehouse using advisors. Otherwise, we would not have a cabinet that we have today. The cabinet is deficient in terms of academic, in terms of professional competence, in terms of experience, in terms of integrity. Many people with cases. Look at the case of Davis Churchill, Mr. Speaker. This is the same gentleman who was removed from office in 2015. Removed from office on matters of corruption. This gentleman, how many Kenyans, if you ask them today, would remember that he was holding the docket of energy? Very few, meaning he left no impact in that ministry. And then you are leaving a lady you have already appointed to the cabinet called Rebecca Miano, who has enough experience, expertise, knowledge, capacity to run the Ministry of Energy, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order from Chepkonga.
What is the point of order? It's just argument. Point of argument, wasting my time.
Honorable Mbadi.
You know, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Chepkonga is lucky that Chepkut is no longer there. He would lose in the next election. Mr. Speaker, the threshold, Mr. Speaker, the threshold under Chapter 6 is higher than cases being in court and such like, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the threshold for approval in this House, we are not a court of law. In this House, we are approving you based on your capacity to hold office. Look at the lady Penina. She's being disapproved simply because she could not talk properly in the committee. And you are telling me that a name that has been brought here by none other than the president as having been mentioned in matters corruption, that person is as clean as cotton. Mr. Speaker, let us be serious. Even if, and I've never been in government except in 2008 to 2013 when I was in Nusumukati government. I have never been in government since that time, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, we have a choice to make either decision to reject over 60% of these names or give President Ruto his skunk. Let us not interfere with it. We give it to him. He has asked for it. Let us give him his cabinet. We know he's going to run the government from Statehouse. These are not people who can run a government.
So, he was also supposed to explain why the new skunk, why he's not a skunk and what exactly was in stake. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I can't say that William Ruto is in charge of this government. The report is showing that probably the State House hand have the influence on that decision to cancel that interview. So much are at stake, and the nation are confirming that that interview has been postponed. Of course, they cannot fall short of reasons to explain why that has not been done. In this podcast, I want to explain in details why the State House cancelled Mbadi's interview. There is no any other magic around it. It is the State House that cancelled the Mbadi interview. What are the factors behind that move. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos, and thank you very much for your support. Ladies and gentlemen, from 23rd we shall be doing Kilifi Elderly Mission. That is going to be a mission. We did the first month for this year. We first did in February. We did Mama Lucy, discharged some women that had been locked there. Then after that, we did Kano Mission, supported elderly women there in Kano. Then after that, we supported Brenda, who had been affected during the protest. We were supposed to do this Kilifi by that time, but Brenda's issue was urgent. So we did it. So in this month of August, we are officially going to do Kano Elderly Mission. That is going to be Granny Care. We said that is the group. So hold on, we will get to the ground. We'll do the fundraiser when we are there, then finish and come back. So thank you very much, by the way. Apart from political analysis, we are members of this society and we stand with this society. So we can always fill the gap. Now, 4 reasons why Statehouse cancelled Mbadi's interview. Number 1, there is a big debate in this country about the state of projects being launched. There is something happening with these projects. Number 1, the projects, the day president is there, the launching day, the tractors are there, some contractors are available, and it seems the work is supposed to go on. But immediately the president leaves, work stops. That's number 1. Number 2, there are projects that were launched, like the Kabonyo project, Kabonyo Kanyagwal project, that was launched, and since then, nothing has happened. Or projects were launched, and some projects are almost 90%. For example, in Kisi, there is a project that was 90% complete, but the president's team went there and launched that. So there are also other projects that were budgeted for, project done to some level, then those tenders cancelled and then re-advertised and given to some other people. And so there is a big confusion in terms of the project executions in government. There is a big problem there. I don't just get it because, for example, if you look at the program in Kabonyo Kanyagwal, it was supposed to be funded by some Hungarian government, given to Kenya as a loan advanced to Kenya. But again, there is a question people are asking, why is it that if Hungary is giving as a loan and they're also choosing the contractor, there is a clause that that project will be done by a contractor from Hungary. That happens with China. China advances a loan to us and the project is done there, but the contractors of the company to do the project comes from China. So Kenya have been getting themselves in those traps, and that's why some people are asking, what exactly are the state of these projects? There's some projects that are being launched without even money set aside by government. And the question that probably the Statehouse team, the Ruto handlers, would not want to give prominence in such interview is the fact that after the Gen Z protest, when the president was announcing austerity measures, he said that the country will stop churning out new projects and will concentrate in completing the already stalled projects. Contrary to that, the president has been moving across the country launching and relaunching anything launchable and launching new projects. So there is a contradiction there. So I think Mbadi was supposed to give an explain on this, and this is one of the things that have been trending. Lawyer Kebaso Murara has been moving across the country, and Kenyans have been sharing videos in social media raising pertinent questions about some projects. So if this interview was to happen, we were really going to hear what the treasury is going to say, because the custodian of the Kenyan shilling, of the Kenyan budget, is the treasury. So if you ask me, this is one of the reasons why that interview is facing headways. Number 2 is the odious debts that Wanjigi had raised. Wanjigi spoke in Citizen, and I will just want to play for you that video by Wanjigi.
But I can tell you...
What do you think then of his chances at Treasury? Will he solve the problems that
No, he cannot.
you have?
He cannot. He cannot. They are too deep. In fact, I'm watching him. Next week, he's supposed to sign his first actual statements of revenue and expenditure. Gazette notice by the 16th. If he signs that notice, that Gazette notice, and he accepts something called odious debt, he has fallen into the trap. If I were him, I would be very careful what the Treasury officials ask him to sign. Very careful. If they even tell him this is normal, they are lying to him. It's a criminal enterprise, that Treasury. It is fraught with unconstitutionality and criminality, so entrenched and so deep and so far-reaching. I can tell you, Yvonne, if there was anyone to fear, forget William Ruto. The fear is, what are those forces that have taken trillions from us and are still are? Who are those forces? Those are the ones you should be saying I should be fearing. Because it's a criminal mafia beyond your imagination that has made sure we are an enslaved nation and will be for many years to come unless we solve this problem now.
And what is this problem now?
I'll tell you. It is fraught in unconstitutionality. I was talking earlier about the Court of Appeal, who said categorically there is something that has been omitted in the current budget, or rather the previous one, called the revenue estimates in the appropriation bill. Appropriation bill is the bill, is the budget. So revenue is where the government believes it's going to get revenue from. And then you have expenditure, how it's going to spend it. That is long before the finance bill. And this is the Constitution of Kenya.
He said it, that Mbadi is a good man, but is dealing with wrong people. And he cautioned Mbadi that if he's going to be given anything by Treasury, and he doesn't know about it, and he's telling me it is a normal procedure, then he should know that those people are lying to him. And he was really cautioned about the debt cartel. In fact, allow me call it debt cartel. The debt cartel is here. There are debts being paid. The president have appeared in many interviews, roundtable interviews. And even during his debate, he mentioned that he was going to publish debts. Kenya is yet to make public the debt register. Kenyans have been asking, yes, we are paying our debts. But for us to have that patriotism in paying those debts so that the range on probably tax goes down to justify the taxation, you need to show us which debts we are paying. Who are these people we owed these debts to? But you know, this debt cannot be made public because it was misused. Because if you say every debt has to be borrowed for a specific project, we cannot borrow debt for general budget support. And that was the word that was used to explain the Eurobond that was taken back in 2014 and part of the debt that is really costing Kenya currently. So the audit debt issue that Wanjigi raised is one of the issues that I think Wanjigi had said, we are looking for you, Mbadi. If you sign, we will know you've been trapped into that system. So that is the second thing. The third thing is the controversy of the new tax bill. And I analyzed here that Mbadi have come on record saying, and it's indeed true, that there were some clauses in that tax bill, in the finance bill, that were beneficial. And may I insist, the beneficial tax bills are the ones that will allow Treasury to collect the ordinary revenue from the billionaires. But any other tax proposal that is targeting Mama Mboga should be abandoned. And in fact, the outgoing CS, Njuguna Ndung'u, explained that there is a conventional Rutonomics thinking that if we increase the tax, the more you churn out tax policies that encouraging taxation in terms of the rates, it does not respond to, it does not mean that you are going to collect more revenues. In fact, it is indirectly proportional to the revenues. If the more you increase those taxation policies, the more you will collect less. It is not counterproductive. But just a week after Njuguna Ndung'u made that statement, Mbadi the CS is out saying we are going to return eco levy. I've also heard him talking about that motor vehicle tax, and Kenyans are asking, why is it that you're not taking the advice from your predecessor? Kenyans are asking that question. So these are some of the questions that Mbadi is supposed to answer, and these are the things that people don't want to hear. Lastly, Mbadi met IMF officials, and of course he said that after, I think, Atwoli and some Kenyans raised concerns that, you know what, the finance bill that collapsed, we believed it was authored by the IMF. So when you start quoting IMF, we are sensing some danger. So Mbadi, what are you up to? Kenyans were asking that question. And I want to believe if he was to appear in this interview, those are some of the answers he will struggle to explain. And that might have informed the decision to cancel the interview. What do you think, guys? Thank you.